Now, when David considered that God was absent, you have to understand that when the power of God is not there, and when the presence of God is not there, notice here that David was left to his own resources.
Yeah.
Because verse number 2 says, how long shall I take counsel in my own soul? You see, even the wisest men left to themselves will have trouble coping with life's problems. And can I tell somebody, I don't care how smart you think we are, we can't figure this thing out by ourselves. The fact of the matter is, if we could have figured it out, we would have already figured it out by now. So the fact is, David realized that the strength and his wisdom came from the Lord. He said, David here, I've tried to come up with ways to try to figure this thing out. I've come up with ways to try to work this thing out, but nothing seems to happen, you see. And there are some of us who try to be master planners. We try to be organized people. Come on, what I'm trying to tell you, you see yourself, you take your pen and you get your pad and you write it all down. You write your plan out and you think it's going to go according to this. But how many times that by the end of that plan, you got to scratch it and start all over? Do I have a witness here? You see, but faith is not living, or is living without scheming. It means not leaning on our own experiences, our own skills. It's not trying to plot according to our own schedule. You see, many of us, the reason why many of us are frustrated is because we've been trying to live our life according to our own schedules. You see, to God's schedule, you on time, but to your schedule, you behind. But you got to come to the point to where Proverbs 3 and 5 says, lean not to your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct our path. You see, you need to understand that storm clouds might be in the sky hiding the sun, but the reality is the sun is still shining. You see, when we came up this morning, it looked overcast, it looked cloudy, but I want to tell you, although you can't see the sun is still there. And I'm trying to tell somebody, it might be cloudy in your life, but God is still there. You see, you got to understand that when Jacob heard the news that Simeon was being left for hostage in Egypt, he gave up and he announced that everything was against him. In Genesis 42 and 36 it says, and Jacob their father said to them, you have bereaved me of my children. Joseph is no more, Simeon is no more, and now you will take Benjamin. All this has come up against me. But watch this, he was not knowing that all along God was working out everything to happen in his favor. And I'm talking to somebody here that the minute something happens that was not on your agenda, you're ready to throw your hands up and declare that the world is falling apart. But I came to tell you as an ambassador for Jesus that even when your world seems to be caving in, God is behind the scenes and he's working it out for your good. Do I have some help in here? All my brothers and sisters, I just come to tell you, you can't trust the emotions of your heart. That you can't allow yourself to go on some emotional tangent. But notice here what happens. That in Psalms 31:15, write it down. David then he changes his petition to God. He moves from Psalm 6 to saying how long, to where Psalms 31:15 he says, my time time are in your hands. Come on, y'all missed it to shout. You missed your spot because instead of you worrying about how long, you need to just conclude, Lord, it's in your hands. And in your time, in your right time, the Bible says, let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. Oh, I wish I had somebody here that knows that with all of the power that God has given you, you're trying to just hang on to due season. I don't have to hang on you because it's your season now, but if I just hang on in there, due season will come for everybody. And I tell you, you can't rush due season and you can't delay due season, because due season is due season. Ain't nothing you can do to speed it up, and ain't nothing the devil can do to slow it down. Baby, when it's your time, the devil in hell cannot stop you, because it's in due season. Oh, bless his name. Oh, I'm about to bust a gut in here. I wish I had somebody here that could conclude the fact my times are in his hands. I can sleep good at night knowing my time is in his hands. I got peace of mind in the midst of confusion, knowing that my time is in his hands. I got a long way to go and a short time to get there. But secondly, watch this. I'm still in the text now. You there is an alarming prayer in distress. Yeah, David here, he was in distress. But he noticed now in verses 3 and 4 where he began to deal with outward danger. You see, it's a good thing to have peace within, but you also need to have protection around you. You see, that's why David prayed and he told the Lord. The first thing he asked God three things. The first thing was, look on me. He asked God to look on him, fix his eyes on him, scrutinize him. David felt that God had hidden his face from him and he wanted to see his face again. But then secondly, he says his request was for the Lord to answer him and send him some kind of encouragement. And can I part right here? Because most of us, that's all we want. We just want a glimpse of what God is doing. We just want something to hold on to. We just ask God, Lord, give me something to smile about. Give me something to let me know everything is going to be all right. Give me a preview of what's to come. Because God, all I've been seeing is stuff to keep me discouraged. But God, I need something to encourage me. And here it is, David felt that he had been discouraged and his prayer was not accomplishing anything. I'm on somebody's street because the Lord told me to tell you, you're on the verge of giving up. You're saying, what's the sense in praying if prayer ain't gonna change nothing? But I came to tell you that's a lie from the pit of hell, because the devil wants you to stop praying, because he knows that when you're not praying, you're trying to do it by yourself. When you don't pray, you're saying, God, I got it. You said, God, I can handle it. But the truth is, it ain't too much that we can handle by ourselves. Jesus said in Luke 18:1 that man ought to always pray and not faint. He said, but I need something. He says, give light to my eyes. He was not only talking about spiritual strength, he was not only talking about spiritual enlightenment, but he was talking about physical and emotional vitality and strength. Why? Because when the body is tired, it's easy to become discouraged. But then notice here in verse 4 that not only was David concerned about his own needs, but he was also concerned about the glory of God. Stay with me, I'm going somewhere. You see, because after all now, God had chosen David to be the next king of Israel. And if David failed, then God's name would be ridiculed. He said, don't let the enemies gloat over me. Can I tell you something? You need to understand this, that you have been set up not to fail. Why? You can't fail as a child of God. Why? Because God's reputation is on the line. Do I have some help in here? You see, when you're a child of God, God has stamped his name on you. And so if you fail, then that means God's reputation is in jeopardy. And I thank God that God is not a God that he's going to jeopardize his reputation by allowing me to fail. So the fact is, it's not because I'm so strong, but it's because of the fact that God has his name stamped on me. Now watch this here. David in verse 3 and 4, he realized that moaning and groaning would not help his situation. The only thing that was going to help him is he had to take it to God in prayer. Can I tell you, the most people, they would rather complain about the problem instead of allowing God to get them out of the problem. But can I tell you, brothers and sisters, when you can't do anything else, you got to learn to pray about it. Do I have a witness here? Now let me tell you something about prayer, and that is, number one, prayer don't have to be long in order to be powerful. Some of the most powerful prayers in the Bible were just short prayers. When Peter was sinking in the water, all he said was, Lord, save me. When the leper was trying to get clean, all he said was, Lord, if you will, make me clean. The publican said, Lord, be merciful unto me, a sinner. What I'm saying is that brevity is born out of urgency. In other words, sometime when the burdens of life pressure down, you don't have time for no long prayer. You don't have time for no dialogue. You need God quick, fast, and in a hurry. And is there anybody here that know you don't have to talk to him long in order to be effective? Do I have a witness here? Sometimes when I pray, I don't have time to talk about Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I don't have time to tell you scoop out the valley, you form the mountain, you stamp the mountains with the white snow, and you hung the stars in the silver socket. But sometime in an emergency prayer, I just say, Lord, have mercy. Anybody here that got a direct line to heaven? Is there anybody here that when the burden is heavy, you got a direct line to God? You ain't got to go through the priest, you ain't got to go through the pastor, you ain't got to go to the deacon, but you got a direct line to heaven. And I came to tell you, Jesus